You're listening to This Week in the World of Football, which is coming to you from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. The purpose of this podcast is to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. The intent is to educate, inform, and entertain you, the listener, with the glorious buffet that is the world of football, while also keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. You can find this show on a multitude of podcast platforms as well as on YouTube. Timestamps are provided in the show description, so you can jump to the topics you really want to listen to. So without further ado, let's kick off this week's show.
Hello again, everyone. This is episode 398 for June 17th, 2025, and I am your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, the DC Defenders are your 2025 UFL champions, the Beaumont Renegades are your National Arena League champions this year, and the playoff field is set in Arena Football 1. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
I am pooped. There was so much football this weekend that we're going to get to, and between that and all the videos that I edited that I made you help record,
yes,
I am exhausted.
3 videos we recorded yesterday.
Yep.
This podcast today, Saturday night, CFL, AF1, UFL. Oh my gosh!
National Arena League last night.
My head was swimming all this past weekend. I'm glad some of these leagues are done for the year, and we can actually relax a little bit. But it's still going on. We've still got plenty of football to be played before the NFL kicks off in August and September. But man, oh man, it was a rough weekend.
How was your trip? You went to a baseball game on Saturday. How was that?
I did. It was a lot of fun. My son Aaron and his wife Liz.
I'm familiar with them.
Took me and her father Pat to a Tigers game. Liz and Pat are Cincinnati Reds fans, and they wanted to go see the Reds there. And I guess it was the first time Liz had seen the Reds as an away team. She'd always gone to see them in Cincinnati, never seen them on the road before. So that was kind of cool.
What a game, because didn't they? The Reds won 11-1 over the Tigers.
11-1, yep. They had a great time, and Aaron and I were just like, oh well, 160 something other games to go, but they were excited. They had a good time. We all had a good time. The food was good. I had a hot dog and a Italian sausage and a couple of Mountain Dews, so it was great. And Aaron did all the driving. He found the place to park, so I didn't have to do anything but sit there and just enjoy myself.
Wow.
So it was a great trip to Detroit.
Yep. And then on Father's Day, I took you to the movies, or rather, you met me at the movies, and we went and saw Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, one of the greatest movies
it's a great
of all
movie.
time. I think we had fun in the theater, even though your theater etiquette could use some work. As soon as the movie starts up and you're sitting there asking me questions like, so did you read the script for the podcast? Like, Dad, the movie is literally starting. Like, these are the opening credits. And you're like, yeah, but nothing's happened yet. That's not the point.
We've seen this movie probably 10, 20 times before. We know what's going
etiquette.
on.
Terrible theater etiquette. The movie's starting up. River Phoenix is on screen, and you're sitting here trying to talk to me about work. We're there to enjoy a good, stinking movie, Randy. A father and son movie of all things. And as we did the little Father's Day short, I am the Indiana Jones to your Henry Jones Sr. So.
Yeah, I'm the guy that's obsessed with work and finding the holy grail of football.
Yeah, there you go. And I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, you're steering the boat, leading us toward the waterfall. All right. We not only do this weekly podcast, but we also make YouTube videos. We currently have over 550 videos. I think it's over 575 now.
I don't know. We felt like we did 550 over the weekend.
Yeah, I looked at it the other day. I think it's over 575. But we got a bunch of videos on our YouTube channel, with the newest ones being last week we recorded our AF1 Week 13 recap, because that was a day late. A
couple days late.
Yep, after last week's show. And then just last night, or yesterday, we did the AF1 Week 14 recap. We did our CFL Weekly Week 2 recap. You posted a history lesson that I recorded over the weekend about Don Dahl.
Yeah, you did that on your own. That was not anything I knew was happening.
Well, you had to edit it, but
yeah.
You've been bugging me to do more history lessons, so I finally recorded one, sent it to you, and then you're like, well, I'm kind of busy.
I was busy. I finally got around to it, though. So
Yes, you did. So that's out there. And then last night we had an interview with Gary Compton, the AF1 Director of Football Operations. We had a good time talking to him.
Yeah. Got that posted this morning.
Yep.
Because I finished it last night. I was like, I'm going to wait till the morning to post this because 3 videos in one night, posting it is a lot.
Yeah. So this makes four podcasts in 2 days that we've done. Let's not do this again.
I mean, no rest for the wicked.
It's been a very trying time, but and then we've got more upcoming videos next week. We'll have at least the AF1 playoff recap because the playoffs are now set there. We'll talk about that in a minute, and we'll have our CFL weekly recap from week 3 that kicks off, I think, Thursday night again this week.
And potentially another arena football interview. We're waiting to schedule that. We won't say who that's with yet, but. Let's just say they got a long drive from where they were playing, and we're waiting for them to get home and settle back in.
After their season's over.
After their season's been over.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, this week we've got scores from 33 games in 9 different leagues from across the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and Europe, including 2 league championship games. So when you hear someone say that they can't wait for football season to begin, and you know somebody will, you have our permission to laugh right in their face, because that's what we do. So now, let's begin our weekly tour around the world of football, and we're going to start off this week with the UFL Championship game. Oh, that's me. I thought I was going to throw it to you.
There you go.
Here we go. Saturday, it was the DC Defenders defeating our Michigan Panthers 58-34 in a wild and crazy game.
It really was.
That's the only way to describe it. I mean, I watched pretty much the whole thing. I got home a little bit late. I tried to listen to it on the radio in the car. We were driving back from the Tigers game, and the Sirius XM was covering it, but they had like the coach's audio, so there was no announcers, and it was terrible. And I finally shut it off because I couldn't take it.
Interesting.
But got home and it was still in the first quarter when I started watching it. I had high hopes for this Michigan Panthers team, but boy, oh boy, the DC Defenders came to play, and
they played with a chip on their shoulder.
They sure did, yeah. Michigan was up 13-6 after the first quarter, but they were behind 37-19 at halftime. Michigan was shut out 9-0 in the third quarter, leaving the score at 46-19. But they did outscore the DC Defenders 15-12 in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't enough for that 58-34 loss that they suffered. 58 points, the most ever played in a scored in a UFL game.
I think it's the most combined points too.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I think that was what they said, but
yeah.
It was a heck of a game.
Yes,
look, I mean, Michigan's defense just got
the defense did not come
shredded.
to play in that game. Yeah,
the Ta'amu had several just wide open receivers behind the safeties and just had to drop it in the bucket, and it was like an easy touchdown. That happened 2 or 3 times. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And before you knew it, the defenders had a big old lead, and Michigan just couldn't claw their way back. I mean, as much as like a league MVP, Bryce Perkins tried, he couldn't just will this team back. Jordan Ta'amu, who clearly thought he should have been the league MVP, did what he needed to do. He went 21 of 28 passing for 390 yards, 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. He also ran for 28 yards and had a rushing touchdown and was named the UFL Championship Game's MVP. Much deserved for him.
Yes.
He's been a guy who's been fun to watch, since he joined the XFL with the Battlehawks. Then, the last couple of years, he's been with the Defenders with the UFL. So he's been a heck of a dude to watch.
We'll see if he gets a look from an NFL team.
We'll see. Maybe soon. Long overdue for him to get that. And I think even Bryce Perkins, despite the loss, will get some looks. Bryce Perkins for Michigan was 21 of 35 passing for 338 yards with 4 touchdowns and an interception. Michigan wide receiver Malik Turner had 10 catches for 168 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, the offenses were booming.
Yeah, pretty comparable. Ta'amu, 390 yards. Bryce Perkins, 338 yards. They each threw 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, stat-wise, it was pretty close. But I just think the defenders' running game kept the ball out of Michigan's hands. I mean, they ran it, and Michigan's defense did not have an answer for the run game or the pass game in that one. But well, congratulations, DC, and our friend Mike in DC, who's been following them all season long. He's feeling pretty good right now about his DC Defenders.
Yeah, and the attendance for this game drew 14,559 fans.
In St. Louis, that's right.
In St. Louis, a little less than even last year, which drew 27,396 fans. So, yeah, it did look a little sparse there at the game. I'm sure Battlehawk fans were butthurt that their team wasn't in the championship. I mean, they weren't either like last year's, but they still like doubled up attendance.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to move the championship game next year at those numbers. I mean, you could have just had it at Ford Field, to be honest with you.
Really?
That's my dream. Let's get that game.
I
at
would
Ford
go
Field.
to a championship game at Ford Field.
I would
yes.
too. I mean, we would have gone to this game had the things played out a little better for us. But,
right.
Man, so much happening at the same time.
Yep.
That it just wasn't possible.
Had to pick and choose our football outings.
Man, we got so much lined up. Oh, crap, which ones do we pick?
Yep.
I mean, you got a trip to Minnesota coming up.
Yep.
We got AF1, wherever the championship game is. We may or may not attend that. You want to go to Canada for a regular CFL game? We just got so much. And we might not be able to do any or all of it. Like, it's going to be, you got to pick your poison.
Yeah,
but
really.
Anyway, so despite Michigan losing this game, look, congratulations to DC. Well-deserved. I thought I had a good time watching the game, even though Michigan got blown out. I still had a good time. A little disappointed with their halftime show. That was a little cringy.
Yeah, somebody was saying that online.
So they got some stuff to work out for that UFL championship. But overall, I think the UFL is in a decent place. We'll see if we hear any news on expansion. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. There's still rumors. We don't know yet. So
yeah, I think they might expand. Maybe 2 new teams. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and find out.
We'll see.
But 2 seasons under their belts there in the UFL, 2 different champions. So, looking forward to next season already. I think let's get the Panthers back out there.
Really? Yeah, I'd love to see Michigan Panthers get a title.
Oh, that'd be so great. What's funny is real quick, when I went to the movie theater, I think I was telling you, I went to the theater twice over the weekend. And Saturday, I went to go see a movie with Kyle, brother-in-law Kyle, and I was wearing my Panthers shirt. I had my Michigan Panthers hat on, and the guy who's scanning my ticket, older gentleman, and he goes, "Oh, I remember going to the Panthers championship game back in 1983." And I was like, "Oh, well, they got a championship game tonight, just so you know." He's like, "Oh, I am well aware." And I was like, "All right, my dude, like that's awesome." So somebody recognized it. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see next year. Actually take home a title. That'd be great.
Really? Yep. All right. Let's see. We're going to move on to the National Arena League Championship game. We're going to turn it over to Adam for that one.
That's correct. It was a Monday night championship game in the National Arena League, which saw the Beaumont Renegades, a fresh new team in the National Arena League, their first season where they completed a 10-1 season, defeating the Omaha Beef 37-29. Omaha, obviously, the defending champions. This game took place in Beaumont, Texas, so this was pretty much a home game for the Renegades, and they delivered. We were curious if they would be able to handle this Beef team in a championship setting, and they did what they had to do.
I looked on YouTube when the game started to see if I could catch some of the game live. I did not see it. At least it didn't pop up right away. So I don't know if it was on YouTube or who actually had the game on. But
as far as I know, it was on YouTube. But
yeah, that's what I expected, because normally when there's something live, it pops up right on the front of my feed. So I just didn't happen to see it. So I really did not see any of this. But congratulations to the Renegades. The Omaha Beef, they've been around since 1999 or 2000 in a ton of different leagues. Won many championships. Been in the playoffs all the time. So they are a great team. I think in the last 2 years, they'd only lost 1 game before last night, and that was to Beaumont earlier this year. So Beaumont really surprised everybody this year, and it's good to see a new team, a different team, win a championship in
their first year.
In their first year, yeah.
That's what's crazy about that.
Yep.
Remember early in the year, it was the Beef that fired their head coach. They were 3-0. They fired their head coach.
Was that the Beef? I remember that story.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they moved on from him, but that's the same head coach. They won that championship with the same coach that never lost a playoff game. And look what happened to the Beef. Yeah, sure. They still finished the season, even though they started 3-0. They went 6-2. Or let's see, what was that? -3 would be 6-2. So I did the math right, and just couldn't pull it out there in the championship game. I think they were starting to pull back because I think Beaumont was up 37 to, I forget what the score was, but it looked like they had the Beef creeping back in at the end of the game, and they were able to hold them off there. But Beaumont head coach Corey Mayfield, a former Grand Rapids Rampage player, was named the National Arena League head coach of the year prior to the game, so that's pretty cool. We've been talking a lot of Rampage the last couple of days, so that's pretty neat to hear.
Yeah.
And
maybe we'll have to try and get a hold of Corey.
Oh, there you go.
See if he wants to talk.
There you go, Randy. Throw that out in the ether. But I also saw during this game that there was a fight that broke out. I was showing you the clip.
In the stands?
In the stands, like during your championship game. Like, what a yikes. What a rough look for your league right there to have a fight in your stands during your championship game.
Yeah.
It's why, like, look, I got nothing totally against the National Arena League, but this is why the National Arena League to me is just like bottom of the tier list.
Well, they're not the bottom, but they're somewhere in the middle.
I mean, they're not quite rinky-dink, but boy, do they like to skirt that line for me. Yeah. So, but all right, that was your 2 championship games. So congratulations to the Renegades in the National Arena League for getting that title in your first season. Yeah. That's really hard to do, and because there was even a point where they had like a month off. Remember, they had a lot of time off early in the season. So good for them for sticking together and getting that trophy.
Yeah, Beaumont finishes with a 10-1 record, and the Beef are 9-2. So a couple of the 2 best teams were definitely in the game.
Yeah, and clearly the better team won.
Obviously, yep.
All right, now let's throw it over to Randy, who's going to talk to y'all about some Canadian football in the Great White North.
Yes, week 2 in the CFL, and it kicked off on Thursday night with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers getting their first game because they had a bye in the first week. The first game under their belt, and they got a win over the BC Lions, 34-20. This was a surprise.
Why is it a surprise?
Well, Chris Strevler was the quarterback, and
he looked great.
And he absolutely looked great. I thought that BC had an edge in this one because they had a game under their belt, and Nathan Rourke played really well last week. But I'll tell you, that Bombers defense harassed Nathan Rourke all night long. He didn't have time. He was hurrying his throws, and boy, they really got after him. And I think that was the big difference. And then when you got your backup quarterback, Strevler, who in my mind is more of a rushing quarterback, throwing 3 touchdown passes. He was slinging that thing.
He threw some beautiful balls during that game.
It was
filling in for
great.
The suspended
Zach Caleros.
Zach Caleros.
Yeah.
So
I assume Zach will be back next week, but I haven't heard for sure or not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the plan. But hey, if not, I would. If I was a Bombers fan, I'd feel real comfortable with Caleros, or not Caleros, with Strevler. And that crowd, though. Man, I love seeing these CFL crowds. It's so great. Those
Winnipeg fans are nuts. They love that team, and the Grey Cup's going to be there. So it doesn't matter that Winnipeg has been in the last 5 Grey Cup games. This one is at home, so more than ever, I think Winnipeg
I'm sure they
wants
want
to be
real
there,
bad.
Be in a Grey Cup again this year.
And if
win or lose, they got to be in it.
And if we were to pick like what 2 teams you think are going to go to the Grey Cup this year, I would definitely put Winnipeg towards the top of that list right now. They looked really good.
Yeah.
After one game, I know, but they looked like they just are on a mission this year.
Yep. Okay, then on Friday night, it was the Montreal Alouettes over the Ottawa Red Blacks, 39-18. Ottawa was playing with a backup quarterback also.
Drew Brown got hurt last week, so he sat out this week. And I feel like had Drew Brown played, this might have been a little bit more competitive.
I think so, too.
Nothing against the backup there, but I mean, Montreal's the other team that I would say, if you were to ask me today who I think is going to play in the Grey Cup, Montreal's the other team.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be Montreal last year because they were just running over everybody, and
Toronto had
they
their
lost to Toronto. Yep, in the playoffs, and Toronto wound up coming out of nowhere and winning that Grey Cup last year. I just got my replica Grey Cup ring in the mail.
Mine's in the mail. I have to. It's going to show up someday, one of these days.
I'm a little disappointed that it doesn't open up like the real one, but
for an extra couple $1,000, Randy, you can get one that does that.
Yeah, I don't think you can buy one of those.
Hold on,
you got to earn that. So, but I'm happy with what I got. So I've got 2 replica Grey Cup rings now, but this one is special because we were there to see this and wearing our Toronto garb and all that. So it was a lot of fun. Let's see. On Saturday, there were 2 games. It was the Calgary Stampeders over our Toronto Argonauts, 29-19. Nick Arbuckle, I don't know. He's started the first 2 games here for
Chad
Kelly, and he's not. I mean, he's looked okay, but 2 losses with him.
I think there's so much else wrong with this team. they just, I don't know. They got the wide receiver, Coxey's still playing for him. I don't know. I think the loss of Kadeem Carey is kind of hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Arbuckle's not your typical starting quarterback. He was good in a pinch.
Right.
But to throw him in, to start the season for 2 games so far, I mean, he's got to just settle down, I think. And I don't know. This Toronto team just definitely looks like they lost a step compared to last year. I mean,
a little bit, at least at this point in the season.
At least at this point, it is early. Like we talked about last year. Remember when we were dogging on the Blue Bombers for being 2-6 at one point?
Yeah.
And look what happened to them. They made a nice comeback and got to the Grey Cup.
Yep.
So it's early in the year.
Yes.
And while I'm not crowning anybody, while I said Montreal and Winnipeg look like the 2 best teams, and Toronto right now is towards the bottom.
Yeah.
So much can change in the long season that is the CFL season.
Yeah, 18 games over 21 weeks, I think.
Yep.
So it's a lot of CFL football to be played. And then finally on Saturday, it was the Saskatchewan Roughriders over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, 28-23. Saskatchewan just looks awfully good this year.
They do. They're
going to give Winnipeg a run for their money, I think.
We'll see. I like that defense for Saskatchewan quite a bit. They can give some teams some fits, I think. We'll see with the offensive firepower. But I mean, Hamilton hung with them. So we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, it's early in the year, but yeah, you got 3 undefeated teams there in the West, and you got the lone undefeated team in the East with the Alouettes. So, like I said, long season to go, but there's a lot of cool stuff I think happening in this league. I'm very anxious to see where some of these teams go, especially the Rough Riders. Rough Riders have been a team I've been like, are they gonna make it to a championship game? Like last year, they looked like they could have done it, and they fell short. Yeah. And this year, I'm like, could this be the year? And they've looked good through 2 games, but we'll see when they come up against a Winnipeg.
Yeah. And then on bye, there's a bye every week since they got 9 teams. Edmonton Elks on bye this past week. All right, that's it for the CFL talk. Let's move on to the AF1, the final week of the regular season, and we'll have Adam talk about that.
Yeah, let's. So 4 games over the past weekend. I would say 3 of them had major playoff ramifications, and one was just a game we expected to be bully ball, and it ended up being that. But this first game saw the Nashville Cats defeat the Corpus Christi Tritons 80-18. That is correct. 8-0-18. The Cats were up 16-0 after the first, 36-6 at halftime. I'd turn this game off because I mean the first 2 games of the weekend were kind of playing close together, so I was flipping back and forth. And then the UFL Championship game was on also, so we had those 3 games kind of going simultaneously, and I stuck with the UFL game. But it was 57-6 after 3 quarters. Corpus Christi did score 12 points in the 4th quarter to make it a respectable 80-18 there at the end of the game. The Tritons finished the season on a 7-game losing streak after a 3-0 start, and obviously we talked ad nauseum about the roster turnover, blah, blah, and how much changed for that team. But the Cats, they played in Clarksville this past weekend, which is where they announced that they're going to be playing their playoff games, and if so, the championship game, if it is indeed hosted by Nashville. So yeah, that came out this, I don't know if it was this afternoon or this morning.
I think it was sometime today.
Yeah, so they announced that today. We were wondering because even when we did our recap video, we weren't sure. There was nothing finalized about the time, at least.
Yeah.
We knew Nashville was playing Sunday. We just didn't know what time. And at the time, I thought it was still their regular venue, but they said, nope, it's going to be in Clarksville the last couple weeks.
The Tritons did play some good football down the stretch.
They had flashes,
but they just didn't have enough to win any of those games after the 3-0 start. But they gave some opponents scares here.
They
and
gave
there.
the Cats a scare a couple weeks ago. I think the Cats were not going to let that happen again. So they hanging up 80 points. And if you get a chance to watch that replay, just watch it for the Eli Gold commentary because oh boy, I love hearing me some Eli Gold. Anything else from this game other than during the video I mentioned they had the red, white, and blue stripes on their helmets with the military seals, which is pretty cool. Then also Saturday saw the Albany Firebirds just dismantle the Washington Wolfpack 98-12. For those of you who don't remember, we put up a short last week of me saying that the Wolfpack would not score more than 4 points. I took the under, and as soon as the Wolfpack scored that touchdown in the first quarter, Steven Titus, owner of the Billings Outlaws, messaged me and said, overpays. And I was like, yeah, he's right. And so I was wrong about that, and I was also wrong about the the Firebirds hanging up 100 points. Gosh darn, I was only off by 2 points, but I figured the Firebirds were going to have their way with the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
What a season for the Firebirds. They finish undefeated, 10-0, and Washington ends the season, with six straight losses. They didn't score a point in the second half, but at one point during the game, it was 16-12, and I thought maybe for just a second that the Wolfpack would actually put a game together.
Yep.
And of course they didn't.
No.
And that last touchdown was at the beginning of the second quarter. So really, it's like they got shut out for 3 quarters.
Yeah,
it's pretty embarrassing, but a nice little warm up for the Firebirds before their big playoff game, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yep.
And then also Saturday night, finally a game that was kind of competitive as the Billings Outlaws squeaked by the Oregon Lightning 40-38. The Lightning actually started this game. They were up 14-0 after the first quarter. Billings getting shut out. And remember, we've talked quite a bit about if you don't score at all in a single quarter, that could mean death for you.
Yeah.
And this might be one of the lone exceptions I can recall, because we were talking about it last week on one of the shows about how has there been a team that scored nothing in a quarter and still won the game? And we were like, I don't know if it's happened. It finally kind of happened. The Outlaws were shut out in the first quarter, and they won a game. So they were able to overcome that. They led 24-20 at halftime. So they had a nice big second quarter to make up for that first quarter. And then it was 30. They were up by a touchdown after the third quarter. They were up 31-24. And the Lightning, I believe, outscored Billings 12-9 in that final quarter. But Billings hung on for that win, and they kept their playoff hopes alive that night. We were like, okay, so they needed Southwest Kansas to win in that next game, and Salina to lose, and that was a game. So let's jump to Sunday.
Well, Billings did what they needed to do.
Billings
They needed to win that
to
game.
Yep.
Otherwise, it would have been, that last game would have meant nothing.
True.
So they did what they needed to do, and it all came down.
Actually, it wouldn't have meant
to the last
nothing because I believe if Oregon would have won, they would have had a shot.
Oh,
and they
that's
probably
true.
still would have needed
Yeah,
Southwest Kansas to win.
They would have thrown everything into chaos, which you love so much.
I love the chaos. But speaking of chaos, what a game, the Sunday Night Vice game. If you were the AF1, you could not have dreamt a better scenario because this game was something else. Salina ended up winning this game against Southwest Kansas in Salina 53-52 as Bailey Hale kicked the game-winning field goal with 1 second left on the clock to win this game. But they were down the whole game.
Yeah.
They never once had the lead until with 1 second left in the fourth quarter. Then they had to pooch kick it to Southwest Kansas, and luckily they fumbled it, and Salina got it back and sealed the win.
Yep, game over.
But Salina is the story. They started the season 0-4. They won 6 out of their last 7 games to squeak into the playoffs. They beat their interstate rival 2 weeks in a row. And every game they played against the Storm has been super close. They lost 22-20 earlier in the season. They played last week and they won by 2 points. It was 65-63. Also, thanks to a Bailey Hale field goal at the end of the game to win that one. Mm-hmm. And now this week they win by a single point.
Well, this game actually was all Southwest Kansas through the first 3 quarters.
Oh, yeah.
And going into the fourth quarter, I think they were down by 18, 20 points, something like that.
They were down by 16.
Okay, 16 points.
Because they shut out the Storm in the fourth quarter.
Were shut out
17
in the fourth
to nothing.
Quarter. And they were up. I mean, they had the lead, the tempo and everything. I don't know why. If they had scored anything in the fourth quarter, we might be talking about a different result. But,
we'd be talking about Billings in the playoffs. We'd be talking about, and because of this loss for the Storm, they're still in the playoffs, they lost their number 2 seed.
Yes,
they lost a whole playoff game
3.
because of this.
So they're on the road now, yeah.
So that was a big thing. And just, what a weird meltdown for the Storm.
Yes.
And even Salina, we talked about on the show, they had kind of almost screwed up the game for themselves because they had an opportunity to go down. I thought they should have kicked the field goal. They went for it on 4th down, turned the ball over on downs to the Storm. And there was like 40 or 50 seconds left. Then the Storm couldn't do anything, which shocked me. Like, they could have done anything.
Yeah. And there was that interception
off
the wall.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
That was great.
If nothing else, go check out that highlight.
There were so many great highlights in this game. Touchdown catches. I loved the safety on, Jalen. Whatever reason, there were some issues with the center, the quarterback exchange for the Storm. It seemed like that ball was hitting the turf a lot. I don't know what was happening. A lot of it was in the shotgun formation for Jalen Morton. I mean, he would recover a couple times, but man, there would be one every once in a while. It seemed like he would fumble the ball around, took big sacks, and then he took that big safety, which also swung some momentum Salina's way at one point during the game. And it was this was a heck of a game. And at some point, we're going to do our top 10 games of the year. This is easily a top 3 game for me. And the Salina, I would say, has played in the 3 best games of the season so far. Last week, this week, and then that Albany game where they lost in overtime, which they probably should have won. Salina has just been my story of the year, and they're the underdog going into the postseason. And let's talk about the postseason matchups because it sets up like this. Saturday on Vice, we'll see the number 4 seed Salina Liberty traveling back to Albany to take on the number 1 seed Albany Firebirds. And I'm pretty sure Albany did not want to see Salina in that game. If there's a team that they could have picked, it wouldn't have been Salina.
Yeah.
I think they would have rather played anybody. And I am very curious to see how the Salina team is going to handle themselves back in Albany. Yes, they got to travel. Yes, Albany didn't have to. But there's something about the Salina team that where they literally played 59 minutes and 59 seconds without a lead and still won a game. Like, that is crazy to me. So I will not count the Salina team out. Because I was watching that game yesterday, or it would have been Sunday night.
Yeah.
And I was like, Salina's still in it. They were down by 16 points at several points during the game. I'm like, I feel like Salina can still come back. And they did. They pulled it out at the end. It was exciting. And this should be a great playoff game this weekend. We made our predictions on our video, so we don't have to go into that. Then Sunday, now we know, will be in Clarksville, where the number 3 seed Southwest Kansas Storm will travel to the number 2 seed Nashville Cats. This game will be at, I believe it'll be like 5:30 in the afternoon Eastern time.
I think is it Eastern time or Central time?
I think
because they're in the Central time zone.
Because in the Mountain, it was 3:30 in Mountain time, which makes it 5:30 Eastern. So, yeah, setting it up in Mountain time on your website. Come on,
everything
everyone.
should be on Eastern time because everybody can figure it out from where you are to Eastern time zone. But when you throw out Mountain time, the people in the Eastern time zone are like, "Huh? What?
There's a Mountain time zone?
I got to add 2 and carry 4, and oh my gosh, I don't know
If
what
you're
time
carrying
it is.
4, you're doing something wrong. But
both of these matchups are really good.
They should be exciting.
Both of these games are going to be really good.
I'm looking forward to both of these games. There will be so much to talk about between them. I'm really hoping there's not a blowout. I'm hoping both these games come down to the wire.
Right. Yeah.
I'm hoping both these games are exciting, and regardless who comes out on top, even if it's Albany like coming out on top, like we all kind of suspect they might, a little Salina chaos, please, arena football gods out there.
Well, whoever wins these 2 games, the other team I think is going to make them earn it. I don't see a blowout. I see both games going down on the wire, like you said.
I really hope so, because I feel like every time we're like, oh, these should be close games, they end up being blowouts, and vice versa. But I feel like they did end up with, at the end of the day, the 4 best teams in this league.
Yep.
It took Salina a little bit to get there, but they have cemented themselves as a top 4 team in this league. I think they could have been even higher had they, that 4-game losing streak to start the season really set them back. It almost cost them a spot in the playoffs at all. They are lucky to be in here, especially with the way Billings ended out their season with 3 straight wins.
Yeah.
So Salina, you got lucky, and Coach O should know, got to button it up a little sooner in the season.
Yep.
But hey, they're there. They're in the dance, and that's all you need to do. You throw the records out the window.
Yep.
Let's get to these games. All right, your final standings, we're going to recap real fast. Your number 1 seed, Albany, they are 10-0 on the season. The number 2 seed, Nashville Cats, ended up at 6-4 on the year. Southwest Kansas at 3 were 7-5. The number 4 Salina Liberty at 6-5 on the year. The 5th team, Billings, at 6-6. That's number 5. Number 6, Oregon at 5-8. Number 7, Corpus Christi at 3-7, and the last team, Washington, at 2-10 on the year.
Yeah, and these were all based. The order was based on their winning percentage.
Yeah, because they played an imbalanced schedule. Because Oregon had the most at 13, and then we had a few teams that only played 10 games. That being Corpus Christi, Nashville, and Albany.
Some teams had 10 games, others had 12. One
11.
had 13 and one had 11. So yeah, they were all over the place this year.
Yeah. So hopefully next year we can get a more balanced schedule.
Yes.
I hope next year also get rid of the bye weeks. Like Albany had 2 bye weeks in a row going into this week.
Yeah.
They just need to play without a bye week.
Yep.
Just play your 10 straight games.
Play every week and
get to your
have at it.
Yeah, I do think the bye weeks, depending on how many teams you have. If you got 9 teams like the CFL, then a rotating bye week would be great. But that's it for AF1. I'm very excited to talk playoffs next week, but now we're going to throw it over to Randy, who's going to talk about the Indoor Football League.
Yes, this is week 13 in the Indoor Football League. They've got several weeks to go yet, so no playoffs in the immediate future for the IFL. But on Friday night, it was the Green Bay Blizzard defeating the Jacksonville Sharks 75-43. On Saturday, it was the Massachusetts Pirates over the Iowa Barnstormers 66-35. Also on Saturday, the Tulsa Oilers defeated the San Antonio Gunslingers 31-21. All the rest of these games are on Saturday, and everybody was in play this week. Continuing here, Quad City Steamwheelers over the Fishers Freight 45-28. That is the 9th straight loss.
We cursed them. I swear we cursed them. I'm so sorry, Fishers.
If we had time, we should go to another game to hopefully break the curse.
But we don't have time.
I know. We are so swamped. Let's see. Tucson Sugar Skulls over the Arizona Rattlers 50-47.
Did you see this was triple overtime?
Was it? I did not catch that.
Yes, triple overtime, and the the Sugar Skulls had a field goal to win this game. Unbelievable here. And I love those white Sugar Skull uniforms, by the way. Those look pretty sharp.
Okay. And then it was the San Diego Strike Force over the Northern Arizona Wranglers 56-53, another squeaker there. And finally, it was the Bay Area Panthers over the Vegas Nighthawks 44-31. Nobody was on a bye, like I said. Everybody had a game this week. And that was it for week 13. So looking at the standings after 13 weeks, Quad City Steamwheelers, this is in the East. Quad City Steamwheelers are at 9-2. Green Bay Blizzard 8-3. Tulsa Oilers and Jacksonville Sharks at 7-4. Massachusetts Pirates at 5-5. Fishers Freight at 2-9, and Iowa Barnstormers at 1-9. And then in the West, it's the Bay Area Panthers with an 8-2 record. Arizona Rattlers 7-4, along with the San Diego Strike Force. Vegas Nighthawks at 6-5. Tucson Sugar Skulls at 4-6. San Antonio Gunslingers at 3-8, and the Northern Arizona Wranglers at 1-10. All right, so we're going to move on over to the La Liga de Fútbol Americano Profesional. I get to say that every week, and I love that.
Yeah.
Week 7 in the LFA. 4 games, of course. Saturday, it was the Kings over the Black Roosters 22-21. That was the first win for the Kings after going 0-6 to start the season. The Raptors defeated the Archangels 12-2. Is that the right score? 12-2?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the one who put it together. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, I don't remember it being 12-2. Oh well. Anyway, the Bears defeated the Leaders 35-21, getting back on the winning track after losing their first game of the season last week. That'd be the Bears. And then finally on Sunday night, it was the Mexicans improving to 7-0 with a win over the Dinos 33-20.
And yes, that was not a typo. The Raptors won 12-2.
Okay. Well, sometimes, I hit a key and then nothing comes out. So
yeah, they got their scores right there on their X page. So
okay.
Yeah, you
12-2. All right, cool. Now we're going to look at the European League of Football, and Adam is going to run down those scores.
That's right, everybody. Let's jump across the pond because, yes, they're playing American-style football over there in the land of Europe, and we had a slew of games, and we started off with 2 games on Saturday. The first seeing the Verslaw Panthers defeating the Cologne Centurions 57-3. The Centurions falling to 0-4 on the season. On Saturday, the defending ELF champion Rheinfire got a victory over the Hamburg Sea Devils 43-0. And a little bit of news from this one. A couple weeks ago, we talked about how the Sea Devils signed Talua Tungavailoa. Is that how you say his name?
It looks like Talia.
Anyway, Tua's brother. And they ended up parting ways with him before the game this week. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Didn't really see a reason other than they just parted ways after 2 weeks. So I wonder what's been going on there, or if it was just a publicity thing.
I read something that they weren't happy with his performance, but that could have been a fan reaction. I don't know where I saw that, but that was the impression I got, is that they just didn't think he fit in with the team over there or whatever.
That's too bad.
Yep.
All right, then on Sunday, the Berlin Thunder defeated the Farivar Enthroners 38-21. The Enthroners now falling to 0-5 on the season. In a game that divided this podcast in half, the Nordic Storm defeated my Frankfurt Galaxy 35 to goose egg. You hate to see it, but the Nordic Storm now 4-0 in their inaugural season in the ELF.
I love to see it. I'm a Nordic Storm fan.
I thought you were a big Seaman fan, to be honest with you. You know, ever since the Milano Seaman.
Well, if they come back,
phrasing.
we'll see.
You walked right into that one, sir. You did that to yourself. Anyway, then on Sunday, the Munich Ravens defeated the Helvetic Mercenaries 58-14. The Mercenaries now falling to 0-4.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get the standings up starting next week because there are four.
There's so many teams, though. We've got 3 different divisions with 4 or 5 teams in each division.
Yeah, but it looks like so far 3 teams are 0 they haven't won a game yet this year.
Yeah.
Yikes. And then on Sunday, the Tyrol Raiders defeated the Madrid Bravos in a very close game here, the closest game of the weekend, 35-34. And then on bye this week, you had 4 teams, the Paris Musketeers, Stuttgart Surge, the Vienna Vikings, and the Prague Lions.
Yeah, we could probably start putting their standings.
I think we should. Starting next week, week 5.
We're dropping 2 leagues this week, so...
I mean, yeah, they're going to have... see, so far they got 2 undefeated teams that I can see right here. They got 3 teams that haven't won a game. So, yeah, something to watch out for going forward.
Okay.
And that Vienna Vikings team, look out for them. They've been looking really good. I know they had a bye this week, but they've been one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team.
Yep.
All right, now let's throw it back over to Randy, who's going to take it back stateside. Let's talk about the ladies of the Women's Football Alliance.
Yeah, week 6. This was actually their regular season finale this week. It saw the St. Louis Slam defeat the Indiana Valor 64-6. The Midwest Mountain Lions over the Sioux Falls Snow Leopards 19-14. The Mile High Blaze over the Nevada Storm 35-13. And there was a forfeit in one game. Unfortunately, it was our Grand Rapids Tidal Wave giving a forfeit win to the Columbus Chaos because they had too many injuries on the Grand Rapids team and they didn't have enough women to field a team, so they had to forfeit their last game of the season.
That's unfortunate. I was really hoping to get up and see a game from them.
We had wanted to
so busy.
get up there and see a game because it's only an hour away from us. And,
yeah.
You know, we've been to women's football games before. We had a team here in Kalamazoo for a number of years. I enjoyed watching them play and going to see them over at the minor league baseball stadium, or next to the minor league baseball stadium, actually. And it's always a good time.
Always had fun. Yep.
So, yeah, very, very disappointing. All right, and finally, the Arena League saw week 3. So, Adam, why don't you run down those scores?
All right, that's right. The Arena League, not to be confused with AF1 or the regular arena football of any kind, because there's no nets.
No.
There's no kicking. This is a very interesting league.
In the world of indoor and arena football, there is indoor football.
Yep.
There is arena football. This league is something different.
It is different
Because they don't have any nets. You know, there's no kicking at all, no field goals. Everything is, you know, there's a throw off instead of a
one lineman now, I think, right?
I don't know.
They got some interesting rules.
But it's like a hybrid, and it's I don't really know what you got. You can't call it arena football. You can't call it indoor football.
But it's still, from what I've seen, it still has excitement to it.
Sure. It's
and
a variation.
The fans there are digging it. The presentation, at least like in the arena, the fields all look great.
Oh yeah,
they have put their money where they need to, and the product looks great. You know, our favorite team now is the Ozarks Lunkers.
Based on the name.
Based on the name. I love the way they've been marketing their team. I've been looking at some of their merch. I've been wanting to buy a football from them. I can't tell that's the football they actually play with. You know how like in the IFL they kind of have each team's got their own balls for their team.
Right.
I feel like they did the same, but theirs looks like a smaller leather football. I'm not sure if that's official or not. If somebody wants to correct me, because I do kind of want one of those footballs. They didn't have the T-shirt color I wanted, so I haven't ordered a T-shirt yet because I'm like, I want a red one. But they're out of the adult red T-shirt last I saw, and I'm like, I'm not going to commit to a gray T-shirt. I can't do it. I want the red one. Anyway, we had 3 games to talk about, starting with the Kelsey brothers owned team, the St. Joseph Goats, defeating the Eau Claire Axemen 55-46. Then on Saturday, the Hot Springs Wise Guys defeated the defending Arena League champion Duluth Harbor Monsters 43-31. And then the Iowa Woo defeated the Ozarks Lunkers 61-42. 2.
The Iowa Woo changed their name. They were originally the Waterloo Woo, and I thought that was a much better name. But I can see, marketing-wise, you want to get the whole state involved in your team, not just the one city. But I thought Waterloo Woo was, it's fun to say, and I thought that was great. So I was a little disappointed when they went with Iowa Woo. Oh, well.
Yeah, but it's
That's
still
just me.
It's still fun to say.
Yeah.
So.
And that is it for this week's scoreboard. Finally, like I said, we're starting to see some leagues end their season, so we're going to have fewer and fewer. We'll be able to concentrate a little bit more on the ones that are playing.
And we got lucky. It's a softer news week this week, so we'll only have a couple stories, and we're almost done with the show. Shoot.
Yeah. Let's see. So more happenings in the world of football. In the NFL, I saw that the LA Rams are going to be holding an Aaron Donald celebration during halftime of their game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football, November 23rd. They're going to be giving away 60,000 bobbleheads, Aaron Donald bobbleheads that night. I just think it's weird to just have a celebration for him. It's not like he's going into the Hall of Fame or
why not?
Like
he's one of your best players ever.
I know it.
Super Bowl champion.
But it's just I can't remember anybody ever doing that before for anybody.
Why not? First time for everything.
He's been retired for over a year now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I want to say this is his first full year of being retired.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just a little weird, but they are going to honor him as a member of the team, helping him win a Super Bowl. So good for them. And like I said, Aaron Donald bobbleheads that night. So if you're in the LA area, you want a bobblehead, better get yourself a ticket.
There you
go. The other story that we've got this week comes from the world of high school football. I saw this, and we've had stories like this before, but
every time they pop up, I think it's weird.
Yeah, I hadn't seen one of these in a while, but running back Caden Coleman Bennett, who is a 14-year-old 8th grader from Hyattsville, Maryland, has hired an agent to help him navigate through the NIL deals that have been offered to him. I guess he's had several colleges already recruiting him, and so he's trying to see, well, who's got the best offer. So he's already got an agent.
Man.
And, this is the world we live in now. 14-year-olds can have an agent and try and get the most money out of a college team that they're going to be paid to play for.
And now that colleges can actually pay the students straight up. We never dove into that story when that came out. There's a lot to that. It's a brave new world, scary new world that we're into now.
I don't like it.
Football.
College players couldn't even get an agent until they declared for the draft. Now you've got 14-year-old kids.
Yeah,
he's going to be a freshman in high school this year, or next year. It's just so weird. I don't think I like it, but you know me, I hate change.
Yeah,
I don't like anything.
I get it, but at
new.
the same time, part of me is like, it feels a little icky, but at the same time, I'm also, you know what? You're a 14-year-old kid, and if you're that talented and you feel like you're gonna be something like that, go get your money and do what you got to do. Get your money, get paid. Who am I to stop a kid from getting paid if he's that good and deserves it?
I don't know. I'm afraid I have to say, show it in high school football first, and then show it in college. Once you get to college, but. He's not even played any high school yet. I don't know if he'll be on the freshman team next year or if they'll have, freshmen on the varsity team.
For that much money, he better be playing on the varsity team. I'm just saying. Before you know it, the high school boosters are going to be paying him to play for the varsity team.
Yeah. Sponsored by the local Taco Bell or something.
There you go.
All right, let's move on.
So wait, I wonder how many high schoolers can we sponsor, Randy? For our local football team.
For the money that that we have in the bank,
yes.
Not even one.
Oof. Well, we'll just all buy him a sody pop at halftime.
I hope there's nothing wrong with that. All right, today's birthdays, June 17th. Halfback Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch, born on this date in 1923, passed away in 2004 at the age of 80. He played college football at Michigan and Wisconsin. Excuse me. Ooh.
Oh, boy.
He was the 5th overall pick in the 1945 NFL draft by the Cleveland Rams, then of the NFL. But instead, he decided to sign with the Chicago Rockets of the rival All-America Football Conference. And he played 3 seasons in the AAFC from 46 to 48. Then he did sign with the Rams and played 9 more seasons in the NFL from 49 to 57. He won an NFL title with the team in 1951, and he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1968. He starred in a movie about himself called Crazy Legs in 1953. I actually own that movie. I've seen it. It's not bad.
Every time we talk about Crazy Legs, I think I have to say to you at some point, we need your list or a World of Football list of the greatest football nicknames of all time. Crazy Legs Hirsch has got to be on that top 10. Am I right?
Well, we did that a few years back. We had we had players.
Randy, we've done 550 videos on our YouTube channel. I can't remember all of them.
No, we didn't do a video of it, but we talked about it over several episodes. The greatest individual, team nicknames, and and I went through and I compiled those lists, so I've got that in a.
I say we dig that corpse up and we redo it.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Hi, have you met me? I'm full of great.
There have been some great nicknames for individuals, for teams, for defenses, or whatever. We should try and revisit some of that.
There you go. I know you got a lot on your plate already. I'm not going to make you do it. You got some other stuff you got to get done.
When I find that, it's either a Word document or a spreadsheet, I will print that off because I've got the complete list of everything that we did over the course of, I think it was like 6 weeks. Every week we'd go through 7 or 8 new names.
I think I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you mention it.
Yep. So we'll have to dig that up and start doing that again. But speaking of birthdays, kicker Jason Hansen, our hero, turns 55 years old today. Happy birthday, Jason. He played his college football at Washington State. He was selected in the second round of the 1992 NFL Draft by our beloved Detroit Lions. He played his entire 21-year career with the Lions from 1992 to 2012. He made 495 of 601 field goals. He had 52 field goals over 50 yards, and this surprised me a little bit. His longest field goal was only 56 yards. I say only, but I think he was the first kicker to ever have 50 or more field goals of 50 yards in length. I think Matt Prater may have more now, but he was the first one to break that 50-yard field goal.
Yeah, for the longest time, Jason Hansen was the best player for the Lions.
Yes.
Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, we love Jason Hansen, but it's really sad when the kicker is your best player.
Yep.
At least in the NFL. We can talk about different leagues where I think the kicker is your most valuable player for a reason, AF1. But I think Jason, the Lions need to retire that number 4. I honestly think they need to retire Jason Hansen for 20 years. 20 years. Think of it. He played for the Lions for 20 years. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, we went. I don't know if you were with me on this game, but I went to a game one time with a bunch of people from my work, and one of the ladies that went with us from the building where I worked, she was wearing a Jason Hansen jersey to that game. And I thought, I've never really seen anybody wear a kicker jersey, but if anybody deserves it, Jason Hansen deserves to have the fans. I mean, today, if you went out and bought a Jason Hansen jersey today and wore it to the game, nobody would say, well, what are you doing with that old jersey? Because anybody that saw him play, everybody that remembers Jason Hansen knows he was phenomenal.
I mean, now that the Lions are good, we could see him wearing any player's jersey. Like, how many times in the past have you seen people with offensive linemen's jerseys? I mean, now we got Penei Sewell jerseys out the wazoo.
Yeah.
Now between Jake Bates and even Jack Fox, our punter and kicker having their jersey. At the draft last year, we saw a Jack Fox jersey. It turned out to be Jack Fox's uncle, but there was
and
a
you
Jack
went and talked to him.
Yeah, I went and talked to him. I had no idea who I was about to talk to, but I thought it was cool that he had a Jack Fox jersey. So, it's cool. And like in the league today, where like you could name a lot of kickers, really good kickers. There was Vinatieri. You did have Justin Tucker there till his recent antics, which now we can't talk about him, but. There's several. Matt Prater still was great. Now we got Jake Bates, who's a lot of fun to keep talking about. So kickers are people too, and they deserve to have their jerseys worn in public. Everybody.
Sebastian Janikowski.
I
think he started this whole trend of great kickers in the modern era in the last 20 years.
I feel like Vinatieri.
Well,
probably if we had to have that discussion, but we could have that discussion a different day.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for the birthdays today. We do have 2 obituaries this week. This is where we take a moment and we honor those who've made the world of football a better place. The first obituary is that of Stu Barber, a tackle in the American Football League for 9 seasons. He has passed away at the age of 85. Barber played college football at Penn State and was selected in the third round of the 1961 NFL Draft by the Dallas Cowboys. He was also selected in the fourth round of the 1961 AFL Draft by the Buffalo Bills. He signed with the Bills, and he played his entire career in Buffalo from 1961 to 1969, winning back-to-back AFL titles in 1964 and 1965. Barber was the offensive line coach for the New York Stars / Charlotte Hornets of the World Football League in 1974, and he went on to become the vice president and general manager of the Buffalo Bills from 1979 to 1982. The reason that it was the Stars and the Hornets because the Stars moved to Charlotte midway through the 74 season.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, and our final obituary this week is that of Mark Lomas, a defensive lineman in the NFL for 5 seasons, has passed away at the age of 76. Lomas played college football at Northern Arizona University and was selected in the 8th round of the 1970 NFL Draft by the New York Jets. He played his entire career with the Jets from 1970 to 1974.
All right, finally today, our upcoming events calendar. Next weekend, well, the weekend, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, the weekend of the 27th, I should say, of June, is going to be your Arena Football 1 championship game.
Still yet untitled? Or
Yes.
still untitled?
Yes. Well,
And apparently they have a name, and everything's ready to go according to Mr. Gary Compton.
but he wouldn't tell us what
He
it
wouldn't
is.
tell us. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. I didn't want to, browbeat him to tell us,
But
he wouldn't.
But the way he hinted at it, he made it sound like, Arena Bowl, Arena Cup. Maybe we got to keep going along the lines of that. I saw a guy on X say, he retweeted us and said, Arena Chalice?
Yeah,
Is that the championship
I
game?
saw that. Yeah, you got your cups, your bowls.
They just need a sword. The sword looks like a giant one anyway. There you go. Your Arena Sword Championship.
The one bowl. Did I suggest that one? I think I might have.
I thought
you
you did, or
I thought of another one today, and I can't
one
remember what
bowl?
it is right now. But it just
one bowl to rule them all.
I don't know. But anyway, we'll find out here pretty soon. I'm sure after this weekend's playoff games, they might actually reveal the name.
Either
of
that or
time.
leading right up to the games this weekend, kind of as pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
We're on the edge of our seats. We're waiting. I'm hoping for a great name, a great looking trophy. Please
Sure.
be a giant sword. Please be a giant sword.
I think you
Missed
will,
opportunity if it's not a giant
I
sword.
think you will be disappointed on that.
Randy, don't ruin my hopes like that.
All right. In 2 weeks, Tuesday, July 1st, we are going to be doing our 400th episode of this podcast this week in the world of football.
It's coming up.
And we're going to, and you still got to make an announcement on who our guests are going to be.
Well, let's talk about them right now here. I'll post an image tonight.
Okay.
Obviously, we're going to have our buddy Tim Capper from Arena Fan. He does the AF1 Fan Zone live show, which is also airing Tuesday night. Go check out them on YouTube.
And he does the Montreal Alouettes
He's got
podcast
his
also.
Alouette flight deck.
Yes, Flight Deck.
Yep. For the CFL, so I'm sure we'll talk a little arena, talk a little CFL with him during the show. At least that's the plan. We don't know how the order is going to go yet because we're going to wait and see how the news kind of shakes out.
Right.
And it depends on when our guests can actually log on that night. We're also going to have
Greg St. James, our man in Japan. You probably heard him last year. We actually had a little musical intro for him, and he provided us scores from over in Japan, some college, but mainly the X League over there, which is corporate teams, IBM Big Blue versus whoever. And that was fun hearing those reports from him. So he's going to be one of our guests.
Yep. One of our other guests will be Trey from Off the Wall.
Yep.
He will help us probably talk arena as well, and maybe some indoor football.
Yep.
He's super knowledgeable about that, so we'll have a lot of fun talking with him. Feels like anytime we talk to Trey, like time just flies by. He's always so fun to talk about. Randy says he's the son he never had, so that always makes me feel great. And then we'll have our buddy Royce from Viking Wax Press joining us as well. We collabed with Royce earlier this year on some helmet videos.
Yep.
And he was just a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah.
And we always message with him about UFL.
Yep. He covered the Memphis Showboats.
Yeah, he covered the Showboats
for
this
the
year.
UFL website.
So Royce is going to be the wild card, I think, on our show because there's not going to be like UFL talk unless expansion news happens. So Royce is probably going to be prepared to talk anything. Well, NFL, as we get ready for the preseason to start up.
So we've got a guy calling in from Japan. We've got a guy calling in from Canada. We've got a guy calling in from the West Coast, Oregon, I guess he's out there, and another guy calling from Tennessee.
Yeah.
So our fans are all over the place.
Hold on, they're our friends, not our fans.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay,
they're our friends. I mean, they'll also say they're fans of us. We're fans of them. It's just great. We've met a lot of cool people doing this, and for 400 episodes, we don't really do a whole lot of guests. Oh, and Aaron and Kyle will probably they'll pop in too, I'm sure. So we'll have a nice, fun, jam-packed show. Like I said, I'm not sure the order yet. We're gonna get that sorted out, but those are who you guys can expect on episode 400. And with the AF1 Championship being that weekend, who knows? Maybe we snag another guest from Arena Football 1 to talk the championship game.
Yeah, I don't know how our podcast is going to... If we did everything that we normally do on a podcast with all the scores and stories that we do, this would be a 3-hour show, and we don't want that. So it may be a pared down thing. We may have just a handful of scores, and basically we're going to be talking to the people who've been on our podcast or that we've worked with, and we've been on theirs, they've been on ours, and we'll just see how it goes. But it's going to be fun.
Yep, looking forward to that.
And you're learning all this technology on how to do a live broadcast.
Oh, yeah, I did this to myself. So.
Well, this was your idea.
It was. It's either going to be the greatest thing ever or the worst thing ever, everybody.
Yeah, so you better watch. Yeah. People will be watching because they want us to succeed, and people will be watching because they want us to fail. So we'll have a big audience.
You're not wrong. Yep.
All right, so that's going to be live 6 p.m. Eastern Time, our 400th episode on Tuesday.
Canada Day.
Tuesday night, July 1st, Canada Day. Yeah, see, everybody will have the day off in Canada, so they'll be able to check us out. All right, a couple more events coming up. Thursday, July 10th, the EA Sports College Football 26 video game is going to be released. I know you're dying to see that. I'm
curious to play it this year, and the Madden game. Because now you can do Amon-Ra St. Brown's headstand in the game, Randy. That's the once I saw that clip, I'm like, well, I'm buying Madden this year. It doesn't matter. I got to
just for a headstand.
I'm paying $70 to do a Amon-Ra headstand in the game. I can't do it in real life. I'll hurt myself.
He's probably not getting any cut of that, I'm sure.
Well, he didn't invent it, but he definitely made it popular. So
yeah. And then Thursday, July 31st, the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. Our beloved Detroit Lions against the San Diego Chargers. We're going to be there for that
because
game.
You know what? Because Destiny's a calling. We're going to see the Lions play the very first game of the NFL season, and then we'll see you guys in February when the Lions go to the Super Bowl.
Well, this might be the only game we go to this year.
Unfortunately.
But we've been to Fawcett. It's not Fawcett Stadium anymore. It's Tom Benson Stadium.
Yeah.
But we've been there for the UFL Championship game.
USFL Championship.
Was it USFL?
Yep, it was still USFL at the time. Yep.
I guess it was 2022. So anyway, we've been there for a game. It's a nice little stadium, and I've always wanted to go see a Hall of Fame game.
Same.
In my lifetime of watching the Lions since 1975, they've been in the Hall of Fame game twice. One of them was like a few years after I started following the team, and another one was, I don't know,
was it 92?
10 or 15, 20 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while. So anyway, I couldn't pass up this opportunity. So we're going to go to that game, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
as long as the weather holds out. Because we were there over, I think it was the 3rd of July when we were there last time, and the weather was gorgeous. It was warm. People were doing fireworks out of their backyards around the stadium, and just a really, really good time. So I'm looking forward to
it'll be packed for this.
Time.
So
yep.
Looking forward to that.
I bet you'll be able to see a lot of Lions fans there too.
Probably.
I bet there's going to be a ton of us there. All right. That's everything I've got. Anything pop up on your phone that you want to talk about before we close this out?
To be honest with you, I mean, I'm surprised we went this long. But no breaking news as of right now. It was a very slow news week.
It was.
Other than obviously the scores and stuff, and a couple
Right.
championship games,
Right.
and AF1 finishing out the regular season.
Yep.
Not a lot of news.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, that's all the time we got for this week. Don't forget to check out our World of football merchandise at tpublic.com.
As long as the NFL doesn't keep taking it all down.
Well, that's a whole nother story. For the latest in football-related T-shirts, hats, mugs, and more from our merch store. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us guys sitting here in Kalamazoo talking about football every week. Join us again next week when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. Until then, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm learning how to do a live stream. Yeah, I'm still figuring that out.
You got 2 weeks.
2 weeks
to figure this out.
And I'll see you next week for a pre-recorded episode.
We'll see you all again next week.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this installment of This Week in the World of Football. New episodes of the podcast are posted every Tuesday and can be found wherever good podcasts are found. You can find the World of Football on Facebook, Instagram, and X by searching for TWOF Kalamazoo or using the links down in the episode description. Head on over to YouTube and subscribe to the World of Football for more fun football-related content. Just search for the World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @the World of Football. Thanks for listening and hope to see you again next time.